Hi guys, and welcome to the year update. It's been 12 months since I first originally caught the queen, and definitely nature reminded me that this month, because all of a sudden all around my neighbourhood all the ants' nests were releasing flying ants everywhere. The floors literally crawling were queens. So that was pretty cool to see, and something I think I may have forgot to mention in the previous video is those pupae that I put in the nest. They were from the nest outside, which is where this queen's originally from. So they're actually related. Now, talking of those pupae, unfortunately they were all, every time they hatched, they just got killed. Now, there was only 5 of them in total, I think, left in the nest. So the workers dealt with that. But one thing I have noticed, and I can't remember 100% how many workers I said there were in the previous episode. I'll put up the number on the screen. But now there's only 12, I think. There was 13 earlier in the day, and I've just counted them again. All I can count is 12. And I'm not 100% sure why that is. One thing I think it could possibly be is the heat. So I imagine in the wild, when it gets really hot, the ants just go lower down in the ground, which I assume is cooler. But in here it's a little bit difficult. So I think I'm going to have to move them to a cooler area of the house, because this whole room gets far too hot. Like, it gets up to, I think the other day it was like 28, 29. And so I don't know if that's too hot for ants or whatever, but some of the workers seem to be going downhill, and I don't know why. One other reason I thought it could be is just the amount of mess that's in this nest. Also, I don't really know how often you're meant to put the water in the sponge of the acrylic nest. So obviously where it's been hot, I've been making sure it's definitely hydrated in there, because obviously that can take down an ant nest very quickly without any water. So I think it's a combination of a few things, and this is really messy because, as you can see, this is where they've piled up all the dead bodies, and I've noticed they sometimes take the larvae over there, so I guess they feast on them as well. So what I decided to do, I don't know if this is right, you know me, I do things and everyone tells me it's wrong, but I've decided to move them back to the other nest. So I refitted the adapter piece, and actually when I took the original one out, you can see how different they are in thickness, and you can see how the ants escaped. It was just that part was a bit messed up, but I've replaced that now, and I've attached it to the original nest. And just what I wanted to do is get them to move into a clean environment, and I honestly don't know what else to do at this point, because I'm doing everything that I think I should be doing, but some of them are dying, and maybe it's just because it's dirty in there, I don't know. Also, I noticed some of the pupae are kind of a greyish colour. Now, someone pointed this out to me in the comment section of the last video, and at first I thought it was just the photos that I took for the thumbnail, and they weren't that dark originally. It was just how I had to, I think I just messed with the brightness settings or something, I don't know. But some of them have actually got darker, so they may be dead. Really sucks. I kind of felt like this colony was growing and growing, and it's just suddenly gone downhill since it's got really hot. So if you have any advice on that, please let me know. But as you can see, what I've done now is attached it to the other nest. I've seen a few ants go over there and investigate. Hopefully none escape this time, but I'm hoping by tomorrow, hopefully, the whole colony will be moved in. So the queen's still in there, and what she's looking at right now are tiny eggs. There are still tiny eggs just inside the nest. The ants keep coming back, trying to drag her. There's one dead ant next to her. I think that's recently dead. I've counted and there's about 12 workers in total now. There were 13 earlier, so that could be a recent death there, which is very sad. One thing I will say though is I did feed them a worm, and this was one that was dried on the pavement because it's been so hot. And I washed it through and everything. Look, they're trying to drag her. And I really thought that would be a good meal, and they swarmed to it basically. Everyone was eating loads. And then I found 1 or 2 ants dead next to it, and I actually ended up throwing away that tube that it was in because a dead worm it makes everything disgusting. So now I'm wondering, maybe that was a bad option, maybe that's a reason. There are multiple different reasons what could have happened, but yeah, they're still trying to move her in, but they're just reorganising everything in the other nest, so that's nice to see, and it's good to see how quick this has been. But the lamp that's shining on them right now is boiling, and it is nearly 3 in the morning, so I really need to go to bed, but we will check back with them tomorrow. So it's the next evening, and all the ants moved in very successfully. They took the eggs, the larvae, the pupae, everything. The only things they left was basically a scrap heap of just old bits of food they never ate, the dead males, and a few dead workers. So I love that before they moved out, there was that dead worker next to the queen. Instead of just leaving it where it was, they've put it in its own heap. Like, they're so organised, they're far more organised than me. But yeah, everyone moved in, it was all good. Looking back at the footage, I actually noticed something orange in the nest with them. Like, it looked like a little mite or just something tiny. Like, you know it's small when it's smaller than the ants, because these ants are tiny. And I think the only way that could have got into the nest is via that worm that I put in with them. So I'm going to just cut out ever feeding them animals from outside. I don't think you're meant to anyway, but I'm just going to stick to the captive bred insects like the crickets and that. And at the moment they're just eating the exoskeleton of a cricket. And I find this is a lot easier for them to break down. It's lightweight, they carry it to their larvae without a problem. And yeah, and even the crickets didn't even have to die for it, so it's all good. So have that. They also have a bit of honey, you may have noticed, in the tunnel. It looks quite massive. It's bigger than I wanted it to be. Usually I only do like a pinprick of honey. Basically, it was originally on some bamboo, and the bamboo must have dropped into the tunnel. Like, it was meant to be midway up, so it was just off of the sides of the tunnel, and it somehow slouched down, and then there was a little pool of honey. But the honey is really dry now, so they can still get it, but they don't get stuck in it or drown in it or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, I actually have some exciting news for you guys. You know, I had the whole situation with AntKit, and the nest didn't work out very well because they were escaping, and then I got a new adapter and everything. Well, AntKit reached out to me, and they've given me a unique code that I can tell you guys about, and you guys can get 10% off any of their items apart from live ants. So the code is LGT2016, and you get 10% off. So yeah, I thought that's pretty cool. So if you want to check out antkit.co.uk, you can. So I hope you've enjoyed the progress so far this year. It seems like kind of slow compared to other people's colonies, so I don't know if I'm doing anything right. You know that just this whole year has been a chain of mistakes, but I've learned from them kind of. But what I'll do is do a quick recap of everything that's happened in this year. A few little snippets of each episode. I hope you enjoy that, and thank you very much for watching.